Alright guys, this is another episode of the Pathfinder build here at Dynamic Image Customs, and just a little shop in my backyard. I just do what I can. I don't remember where I was at on this build, but what I have done is put in these. I still gotta knock all those welds down. I've got the hood where it will shut right. It will latch with the factory latch that is not put in yet. And I've got to pull the body off of this, and with the body off I'll be able to finish up some welding on the underside. You can see daylight right there, that line. What that was is I cut this entire rear section and I pulled it out about an inch on each side. I didn't really measure it, I just got it to where it would tuck these wheels. The Titan wheels don't tuck normally, so I had to make them tuck. So now with that done, before I pull the body off, I need to finish up a few things. I have to crawl under this, and I have to button up some last minute things. This parking brake arm is rubbing on the body because this is body dropped, and it's a full custom frame. So little things like that you will run into whenever you're building a car from scratch. All I got to do is bend this down to get it to clear. This linkage that goes up here for the parking brake, I have a bolt point right here that has to be fitted to the frame. I will most likely build a bracket that attaches to this transmission cross member, and then I will be able to bolt that in place, and then the parking brake will work. And as long as I can keep all of this away from my exhaust. So that is the hanger, and I did that on purpose to make it long, and hopefully it will cool off before it gets to that parking brake cable. Generally, people with air ride trucks use their frame as a parking brake. And today I went down and pulled the wider tires. I was running a V8 in this. I'm no longer going to be running a small block Chevy. I'm running the 4-cylinder out of the hard body, and I decided to get the proper size tire. So I picked these up really cheap off of eBay and got a guy local. I can't mount tires here. I can pretty much do everything else, but got all that done today, this morning. And now what I've got to do is fit my gas tank. This is a 17-gallon fuel cell. I showed you how I fit the factory sending unit in this early on, and I made these hoses long enough on purpose so that I could drop that to the ground if I needed to and work on this with this in the air like it is. So I had a piece of metal right here that hung down, and I just cut that off with the plasma cutter. The body's going to come off. I can clean all of this up a little bit better underneath. I've got some bed liner material ordered that I'm going to spray on the underside of this after I get done welding. But this is a 45-degree bend here, and it actually was a different bolt pattern, so I had to drill out the bolt pattern of my fuel tank. And then this came out of a Ford F-150, or I believe eBay. And then I just used 2 hose clamps because I really don't want it to leak. Most likely at this point, I showed you what I did to keep the smell, the gas fumes, to a minimum. I came out with a breather tube with a roll over valve, and I made some circles right here, and that will eliminate all or most of the fuel vapors. At this point, I realized that my neck could have fuel in it, and it may cause this some trouble. It may actually start leaking. So at some point it will get around these curly cues that I've got. I've got like 2 circles. So most likely what I'm going to do at this point is take this filter up to here. I was going to put my new filler neck there. I don't want it there anymore. I'm going to put it up here. It's going to be just below this body line. And what I've got is this. It's basically for a boat. It's stainless steel. And if I moved my phone, you could see my ugly mug because that is pretty shiny. So I'm going to weld this all the way around and get it smooth, and then I'm going to put that right there. I will just cut the hole out that I need, and I will fit that through the hole mark where my screws will go through, and I will weld on some nuts on the back side. And getting up in there and welding nuts will probably be a lot of fun because it's right in that hole right there. I will do that with the body off so that I can get to it easier. I'm going to try to do this without editing any of these videos because my phone, I dropped it and it is busted, and that is what I'm filming with, and my touch screen is not working. About 1/3 of my phone touch screen does not work at all. I've got another phone coming, and I'm probably going to lose some videos that I have saved on here, so I'm going to try my best to get those off of this phone and get them edited and get them posted. It is some wiring harness putting in that I'm possibly going to lose, and it is the reverse tilt hood complete install, and I've got a lot of people asking about how I did that. So if I lose that video, it's gonna hurt my feelings because I mean, I'm doing this for free, but helping you guys is the only reason I'm really doing this. So you can make fun of me all you want, but I'm just here to help you. This is very hard for me to make these videos. I would probably be done with this Pathfinder if it wasn't for making these videos. But anyway, this is for, I believe it was a Honda Odyssey, and that was, I believe, a Ford F-150, and they are not the right size. They're not the same size. What I've got is a stainless steel exhaust 90, and it is 1.5 inches. That's 1.5 inches, and I was able to squeeze it on to there. So I know if I cut this hose right here, and then I put an exhaust reducer, not reducer, it's a exhaust 90 stainless steel. So if I put that right there, I could, let me pop this. All right. So basically this will be fit into here just like that, and then the hose will come down to here. And what I will do is right here where the body starts, I will put a 90, and I will start turning that direction, and I will go possibly with the rest of this that I cut off on the other end of the 90. And then I've got an exhaust reducer. It goes from 1.5 to a 2 inch, and it is also stainless steel, so it will not rust. And that reducer should be able to fit this 1.5 to this 2 inch, and I will cut this off where I need. So at this point, I'm going to raise the gas tank back up and bolt it back into place with this hose coming through this hole. And then I will look at where this will hit and figure out a plan as far as where my reducer and my 90 need to be. Those have not come in the mail yet, but I should get those tomorrow, I hope. I have to work the next day, but I got today and tomorrow off. Anyway, so that's where we're at, and I will cut you back on once I get a little further here. The gas tank came with this when it was new, and that was going straight up. So for just a few dollars, I got that 45-degree bend. It comes over pretty nice. It barely messes with the hose right there. I had to saw some of that off. I will find the little piece and show you, but this hose comes over. Ooh, did you see that? Cat-like reflexes. I caught that. I didn't really want that to hit the concrete. So what I've done is I put a mark where that needs to be at the very bottom, and it will just sit just like that. The top of that will be right here at the bottom of that body line, so I will not interfere with that at all. And it will come right there. After I cut that hose off, it'll come right to the bottom of that body, and I will come in with a 90. And then the piece that I cut off of that, I can come in like this. Maybe not even that far. I might cut some of that tube off, and then I will come into the reducer and I will cut this tube back to where I can hook it all together, and I should be able to fill this tank up with fuel at that point and figure out a way to mount the filter up here onto this neck anyway. And I might come off with a bracket right here, just with a flange basically with a hole in it. I can bolt the 90-degree right here. I can weld a little tab on it, and I can bolt that into place where it will not move. It'll keep all of this stationary. Let's see. I used a grinder to cut this off, and the aluminum will embed itself into these grinding wheels, and they will explode, but I've not had one explode on me. But keep that in mind, if you do a lot of grinding on aluminum, it could explode on you. But that's what I cut off, basically just half of an inch more than the threads. And that gave me enough to screw 2 hose clamps onto that hose right there. I'll cut you back on once I get some parts. I went ahead and made some Sharpie marks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my filler right there at the bottom edge of the body line. And then actually I did the thing right there. It gets smaller, so the actual cap is the same size as what I need the hole to be, so I just took the cap off and I traced around that. This hole right here is the hole that I'm going to need, and what I can do is just go ahead and weld nuts on the back side of here, and then I can possibly leave it connected, but I'm going to weld this around. That is a huge gap to fill. I've done this before. It just takes a lot of time, a lot of patience. You have to grind all this down to bare metal and then just start welding in until you get it filled, and go all the way around without letting it get hot. So you got to weld super slow, and it's too far out right here. I've already been bending on this thing to get it lined up as good as it is, and it needs a lot more bending to get it lined up correctly. I'm gonna have to take this off. That right there is hindering me. That thing's latching, so it'd be a lot easier if it was not latching, because it needs to come out up here. It's good there, it's good down around, and then it starts getting tall here, so then I'll have to start pushing it in and welding it around. But it's high here on this part, but here it's high on the body, and right here is flush, so it's just going to need a lot of tweaking, a lot of welding, very, very carefully welding. So I'm gonna see if I can find a hole saw and start taking care of this. So lately I've not had very good luck welding stainless steel nuts on the back side of the metal, but that's where we're at this point. I've got to do that. And these aren't really the screws that I want to use. I was looking for some Allen head screws that would fit down in there a little bit more flush. I could maybe get the size of that nut and go to the hardware store later and see if I can find some. If not, maybe order some online. But that's where we're at. I drilled the hole with the hole saw and the hole was still too small, which is fine. I went ahead and used this to make the hole just a hair bigger and make that fit in there real nice. I'll cut you back on. Alright, so this is where I'm at now. I got a kind of a cobbled up mess up here that was not wanting to hold, so I ended up just stacking it slowly and not warping it. And I am slowly getting it flat all the way around. I'm low here and I'm high here and I'm high here, and then it dips down real hard right here, so I'm gonna have to massage that with a screwdriver and a hammer and try to pry it around and tap on it and whatever I've got to do to get it to work. This has to be flat, and then eventually I will get it, but very, very slow, and you cannot get this hot. It will warp the panel. The panel is already slightly warped from me pushing these sides out. It actually has warped it pretty bad right here. I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet. I'll cross that bridge. Wished I didn't have to, but I will cross that bridge. I'm just not there yet. So, I'll get all this worked out. I gotta weld that hole up. That was my mistake. Turns out side marker lights are cheap crap. So anyway, don't put the cheap crap on here, and definitely don't cut a hole. But it's all warped right now anyway from just pushing the sides out, so it needed quite a bit of work anyway. Alright, so yeah, and I'll cut you back on. I went ahead, while I was welding this and letting it cool off, I went ahead and shaped this with a body hammer, and I put a plate on the inside and I welded that hole up. I also had to body hammer and shape around here. It was really low. I went ahead and used the tip of one of these hammers, that one, to try to get that pushed out where it needed to be. This is going to require body filler anyway. Pushing this bedside out really did a number on this rear quarter, and I don't know, I bought it like that, so I'm going to have to weld studs and pull this, reshape this body line back here, and the same thing here. That needs to be flat. It's crushed. Anyway, so we're getting there. One of my nuts fell off, and I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to put some weld nuts in. Hopefully these other two are stuck good enough. But anyway, I'll cut you back on whenever I get some more supplies to work with. Alright, I'm going to see if I can start this video back up where I left off. I had to take a break. I worked on a friend's truck, and it's been, let's see, I pulled this out on Sunday. Pulled this out on Sunday, and today is Friday. So it's been all week, but I got some parts in the mail. I got this reducer. So this will take it from the big pipe to the small pipe. And also got a 90 right here. Let's see if I can fish this back out just a second. There's the 90. That's going to be, I think, 1.5 inch. And what I'm going to do is have the 90-degree bend in this tube. I'll come straight down, and then the stainless steel 90, I will come over, and I will have to cut this tube a little bit more, but maybe to back here, we'll see. So I will have this reducer go to the big pipe. The other end of the reducer will go to the small pipe. I'll see if I can get these hoses the correct length, and then see if we can kind of get this hooked up here. Alright everybody, so I've got this in, and once I connect this in and bolt it in place like I've got it made, got the weld nuts on the back, this comes down into this reducer now, goes into that tube there. I think it'll work fine, but there is slightly a low spot right here, and I know I'm gonna have some gasoline kind of catching that low spot. I've got a vent down here that comes out. I think I've probably showed you that, but the vent it's got a rollover valve and everything. So, and then I've got a tube that goes to the bottom to the top several times, and it's all zip tied together nice and neat. I'm going to take all of those zip ties loose. I may go down, actually I think it would be better just to leave it up high, and I was gonna say I'd go down and then back up, and I might have to in order to keep some of the gas vapors out. Make a little pocket right there so it's not just open vent. If there was a low spot, gas would get in it, air could probably still escape. Some of this I've done before, but it's kind of still in trial, I guess, for me. So my plan is to take that vent line and come up to the top of the tank and over to here. I can zip tie it to this line with a stainless steel zip tie, and then once I get over here, maybe I can have a bracket that will bolt in somewhere. I'll look at that. I'm fixing to have to pull the body back off of this and weld some of this stuff here. That's got to be sealed up solid, and it's going to require a lot of work. I'm hoping that I can get that done in just a couple of days. Body's coming off probably tonight, so I wanted to kind of wrap this up and a few other things. But if I had that vent come to around the top of this, then I think it would benefit me for this not burping back at me or kicking the pump off when it is not actually full. It will allow some air to escape and allow me to fill my tank quicker. So that's where I'm at with it. I've got a tailgate skin ordered. They got it in the mail already. 3-day shipping. Mod shop. So they're really hooking me up, getting me a skin as quick as possible. And once that skin is in, I'll get it on and I will start filling some of this in, get my body line right, form this to where the skin needs to be, get all of this wrapped up to where it looks like it came factory with Cadillac taillights. Get that just straight as I can, make it look as good as I can, and try to get the roll pan in. See if I can fit the body with the roll pan on. That's another issue that I'm looking at, because this comes back so far. May have to make this back part bolt in order to get the body off and on, but we'll see. And I'll just keep you updated as I get stuff fixed up. So all right, I'll catch you later.